live, baby. We is live.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Sin City Crypto. We're coming at you today live from Global Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have got some really exciting crypto content coming your way. But before we get started, a small disclaimer. We are not financial experts. Anything that we happen to say during the course of this video should not be construed as strict financial advice. Before doing any investing, please do your own research. My name is Carl. I'm your producer and one of your co-hosts, and I'm here today with my good friend Robin. Our other host, David, is actually off at the Venetian celebrating his birthday today, so we want to give a special shout out to him. Happy birthday, David. Thanks so much for being a part of our program, and I hope you have a great time today, and we'll see you tomorrow. With that being said, let's meet our first host today, Robin.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob. How y'all doing? Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. If you're not new here or you just like to hear me talk about my favorite phrase, we are an entertainment-based cryptocurrency channel where we take all the old, boring, and stale information, we package it up in a fun and sexy way. Shout out to our media partners, Global, who helps us broadcast not only to YouTube, but other channels as well. And a little bit about our platform here. We do live streams. We do deep dives. This is our live stream. Check out our deep dives. We did a cool deep dive yesterday on NFTs, our top 4 picks. So when you have time, go check it out. With that said, how would you know we do deep dives? How do you know when they're posted? If you ring the notification bell. So here, we're a growing channel. Grow with us. Subscribe, like the channel, hit the notification bell. It is also December. We are in the holiday season. So jingle, jingle. It is the time of bells anyways. And with that said, David, happy birthday. Enjoy your day off. Doesn't mean you're not ugly. Okay? I just want you to know that. So if I could gift you my good looks, your boy looking sweet. So anyways, Carl, what we got today, brother?
I wanted to call today Wound Up Wednesday because we are fired up here in the studio about some news that happened today that we're going to get into a little bit later, so stay tuned. But the hot take for today, we're going to start off with our first segment we like to call
It's hot.
Fuego. Mucho caliente.
Now, Congress has just raised the debt ceiling for the United States, $2 trillion. $2 more trillion can be spent and add to the books. Is this bullish or is this bearish for crypto? Right? What do you think?
Well, whether or not it's a good thing or bad thing here, I will say the theme of the show is Congress today. So we figure we would lead it off with what is wrong with the financial system and what's wrong with the spending. So apparently we have nothing but a wallet of credit cards that we just endlessly just keep racking up our debt without even thinking about how we're going to pay it back or the ramifications of running up more and more debt. Just in the last 2 years, we have more than doubled our circulating supply of cash, whether it's in the form of money printing, bonds, and basically the quantitative easing that the government is issuing out all kinds of assistance and money to big businesses that probably don't even need it. Either way, 2020, 40% increase in the money supply. This year in 2020, a 30% increase in the money supply. Now, you're talking basically over 60% of money has been printed basically in the last 2 years alone. So, I mean, think about the ramifications of that. And if you're going to sit here and say inflation is at 6%, you're damn crazy. So there's two ways that this impact the viewer here, impact me. For one, I'm an American citizen, and for our government, our structure, it's not good. It's not good at all, man. And so with inflation, the people that are paying, the people that are screwed here are the average citizens. The people that make out are the large CEOs, the large tech businesses. So basically, the individuals that hold assets that bear interest, that are pegged to value and scarcity, those people are protected from inflation. And if anything, they gain from inflation. They gain. So the money that comes out from the government is funneled into the masses, and then the masses, and in turn, just they're not taking that money and investing it in stocks. So the average American isn't taking these $1,600 checks or these new programs that are coming out. They're not investing in their future. They're basically just funneling that cash straight to the people that already are sitting on the big wallets. Less than 1% of America owns more than 30% of the financial structure. So, and then it gets even worse as you go down. So basically, inflation's going up, but salaries are not. So really, really scary times in that field. How do you feel, Carl, about just we're not going into cryptocurrency, but just the government policies, the spending, basically holding nobody accountable other than our own U.S. dollar. How do you feel about it, brother?
Yeah, I think when they print more currency, it hurts the savers who are trying to save for a big investment in the future. And so you have to save even more because those goods and services are going to cost more in the future. And so if you're trying to save a little nest egg to try to invest in something like buy a house or start a business, that becomes a little more difficult for you. So something like this benefits the 1% and makes it harder for the 99% to raise up their status level. So that's why I think, didn't want to talk about crypto in this particular moment, but you need to invest in a vehicle that will outpace or keep pace with inflation. And so if crypto is that kind of like a vehicle that makes sense for you, it's certainly the one that makes the most sense for me. That I think it's super important that you realize that the only thing that they can do is keep printing money, and you need to put your money aside somewhere, not a savings account that will be able to keep up with inflation as your security raises in value as well.
Well, they back themselves in a corner, and you can't raise interest rates. Otherwise, the bond market will collapse. And so if you're trying to prevent a recession, which we are teetering on that, and we're also in a bubble financially, as far as our infrastructure. So, it's the writing's on the wall. They know it's there. So that option's off the table. So the only thing they have, you can either raise taxes or you can print. And damn well it's hard as hell to raise taxes in Congress. I don't want to pay more taxes.
The other option is to reduce spending, and we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen either, especially with people's agendas. There's so much limelight on Congress on you need to do this, especially when you have your supply chain issues, you have your just basically your governmental issues as well between other countries and nation states, the trade agreements. It's a tangled web of just shit that is all just been snowballing, and there's no way out other than raise taxes or print money. That's essentially the two options they have, and they're not going to raise taxes. So here it is, inflation.
Right.
Which it brings me back to like a conversation I had with my dad a while ago when I was talking about cryptocurrency, and his thing was, well, what if I were to take $10,000 and just bury it in my backyard? I feel like that's a safe investment. I'm securing my money. It's nobody else's hands. The government can't get it. And if you were looking at yourself in the 1950s or 60s, yeah, that would actually kind of make sense. You could protect your assets. You can hold it yourself, but that's not an option now. Your salaries aren't increasing. The cost of goods are increasing. I went to Zupa's yesterday, and I went there for lunch, and I got 2 salads and 2 soups. It was $30.
$30. 2 salads and 2 soups?
I didn't even think about it until I'm sitting at the table eating my soup, and I'm like, that's a lot of money. And I started thinking, I'm like, 5 years ago, if you would have told me 2 salads and 2 soups is $30, I would have been like, God damn, like that's not okay. So,
right.
It just goes to show you that, and this is just the start. The inflation is starting to catch up. So inflation is trying to catch up to where we are monetarily, and so it's behind. So inflation, we're not at the top of our inflation. So when you look at gas prices, you look at the price of consumer goods, you look at the price of food and services, everything across the board, it's all going up, but it's not even where it's going to be. So put your seatbelts on because, and unless you're doubling your salary in the next 2 years, good luck affording any of that. Good luck buying a new house. The price of rent and apartments are directly correlated with the price of housing as well. So it's not even about owning your own house. It's about freaking paying rent. Like, are you going to make enough money? Like if you have a job making $50,000 a year, can you afford an apartment? No. And where are you going to find a job that makes over $50,000 a year? Like easily, like, where are you going to find $100,000 paying, a job that pays $100,000 a year? Because that's probably what you're going to need to afford an apartment right now. So, very worrisome. But now that let's just transition over to cryptocurrency. So with all of that said, as you have a stable asset, you have an asset that doesn't inflate, isn't affected by inflation as far as a negative concept. Let's just take Bitcoin as an example with a set circulating supply, with only the new supply coming from mining, which is already accounted for. With that, it is a safe haven for your money. It's basically immutable. It doesn't inflate itself. It's
scarcity is written into the program itself.
And
they can't make any more Bitcoin just out of thin air like they can print more dollars out of thin air.
Yeah,
this is very important point to understand. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. Period. That's it.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of cryptocurrency, is that what it is, and it can't be altered by somebody's motive. So somebody in Congress that all of a sudden wants to pass their own bill or whatever it is, like, they can't just go to the blockchain and just ramp it up. They can't just, hey, we need some more money for this project. We want to fix the highway, so we need to print a lot of more Bitcoin. It doesn't work like that. So that's why this is a disruptive technology. It is something that's going to change the world. And with any free market, people are going to go to what is most secure, what is most efficient, what is the safest, and what is the best hedge for your future. And you can do that with any technology. And right now, that technology, the disruptive one, is cryptocurrency, because it is a smarter, faster, easier form of payment, easier infrastructure to lay out for the financial system. So,
it's very
stupid not to get into it.
Yeah, it's very simple for me. If you were to describe fiat currency, the US dollar, in a form of cryptocurrency, and you said all of the attributes of fiat dollar, but it's actually a cryptocurrency, every single person would never invest in that. It'd be awful. They would just inflate themselves to zero. And any money that you'd want to put into that system would lose purchasing power. I don't think anybody would get behind something like that.
Yeah, if you took our model,
a no-brainer, guys.
If you took our model, let's just say Bitcoin was exactly correlated to the dollar as far as value, and you were to say, hey, there's 20 million Bitcoin in 2020, and then you were to increase it by 40%, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, now we have 28 million Bitcoin in 1 year instead of 20. You all know exactly what would happen to the price. And then the next year you increase it by 30%. So then you're at about $33 million. So, it's unsustainable. It's not smart. And you know what? The people now have a choice on where you're going to keep your money. Are you going to keep it with the government, who is irresponsible with their spending? Or are you going to keep it yourself and invest in yourself and put it in a safe place that is free of policy changes and monetary changes? So that's what I got. Which, you got anything else to add on that one?
Yeah, I think the last thing I want to say is about how the investors for all of crypto really protect their assets against the US dollar. And so this is the only thing that they have to do, is continue to print more money. So if you want to have a safe haven, it's important you get into crypto today. The amount of money they're about to print is not going to go into the form of unemployment checks to each individual person in the country. It's going to go for the defense bill. It's going to go for the finance bill. It's going to go for these big programs for government to spend money, and it will go into the big player channels. This also means institutions may start to get involved in cryptocurrency. And so if you're thinking to yourself, I might be late to the party and I shouldn't invest, I'm telling you that this might be one of the last opportunities for you as a small-time investor to ensure that the dollars that you have in savings save their purchasing power before these big institutions get involved, and then with the, I'm not say laws and regulations are written in which to protect them, not just you. So this is a great time to get in and to watch this ride, because it is going to be a roaring 20s, my friend. Here it comes.
Let's inflate the money, build more cruise missiles and UAV drones that spy on other people.
That's it. We got to stop.
That's where our money needs to go.
Dictators
right there.
Around the world that are killing their own citizens.
You got to arm up.
You got to do that.
You got to arm up so that way you're not vulnerable to attacks. But
yeah, let's spread democracy.
Enough,
well, it was a good hot take, my friend. Let's move on to our first. I would say the next segment we'd like to call the talking points. And so, of course, our first article just has to review what is going on in Congress today. They've invited 6 CEOs to go ahead and talk about cryptocurrency. This is kind of a Q&A thing, and they just want to go over a few different sectors, try to get more familiar with it, try to ask some questions, and try to learn about the space, and prevent a few scenarios that say, hey, what about this aspect? What about that aspect? And we were watching before the show today, and this is kind of why we're all wound up today, because it was painful to watch. Painful. So going over this first article, though, is basically a memo that came out before it, just had to say, hey, this is what we're going to kind of talk about. What do you guys think? And so it's going to involve crypto exchanges, stablecoin offerings, the regulatory concerns in digital assets, as well as federal regulatory responses. And then it goes down to talk about how that's given its potential to replicate and replace conventional delivery of financial services such as loans, assets trading, insurance, and other services. And pretty much, this is my favorite right here. The cryptocurrency markets have no overarching and centralized regulatory framework, leaving investments in the digital assets space vulnerable to fraud, manipulation, and abuse. Digital assets and related service providers can present money laundering, terrorist financing, sanctions evasion, kleptocracy, as well as other illicit, the other finance risks as well. And so this is just shows how out of touch they are, right?
Yeah, the hearing was okay. So I will say
I'm wound
this,
up, man. I can't even speak. I'm fired up. I'm so angry. I'm so angry.
So, you know what the meeting is supposed to be. If you look at it from an agenda standpoint and what they're trying to accomplish, is that Congress realizes that there needs to be regulation. Well, you can argue whether or not it's needed, whatever. Regulation's coming. Let's just figure out what regulation is going to be put in place, and let's talk to the CEOs of the major players in the crypto space, see what their reaction is and what inputs they have, and maybe offer some insight on regulation moving forward that Congress can propose. So that's what is supposed to happen here. However, what it ends up being, what it is almost every time there's a congressional hearing, it's just a bunch of congressmen that are taking time not to have a conversation, but just to scream their point out within a couple minutes, just to push their own narrative. They're not really trying to compromise, come up with agreements, come up with solutions. They're just saying like, hey, I represent the interest of this group or these people, and what you're doing is either cool or it's not cool. And they're missing the dialogue here. So what I took away from this is 100%. That they're missing the conversation. They're missing like, okay, here is some of the things that we're looking for. Here are some of the hurdles. What do you recommend, or what is your company doing to meet those needs? Or, you know, what are some things that we can implement to make your job easier, or make regulation, or, you know, a little bit clearer, so that way there's not so many blurred lines. And, you know, because a lot of the problems with running a successful exchange, as an example, is, or running a successful cryptocurrency protocol, is that you don't know what is illegal and illegal. And so, like, that should be the start of the conversation. Like, first of all, where are you drawing the lines? Like, what are you okay with? What are you not okay with? What do you want us to do? And they're not doing that. The only thing that these congressmen are talking about is they're pushing this narrative of money laundering, and they're pushing this narrative of communism. And it's like, I'm like, where's the discussion on implementing? Where's the discussion on clarifying? Where's the discussion on, like, making this accessible and not missing the boat? Because other countries are making the move to cryptocurrency. They're implementing, they're making it easier for developers. And even if you don't care about the technology, there's a ton of jobs in this field. And these jobs and these companies are going abroad. They're going to other places where they don't have so many roadblocks, so much like hurdles that they have to go over just to run their business. So if you're looking at it from simply a jobs and economic growth is from having the industry here homegrown, you're missing that boat. And then secondly, the technology is leaps and bounds better than what we have now. The infrastructure, the traditional financial system is so intertwined with all of these checks, balances that with a modern system is not needed. It's not necessary. And you could have such a streamlined, simple process that you could integrate into the government, and they don't want it to happen. And for two reasons. One is for the interest of the banks. So banks obviously are the custodials of most of the finance here in the U.S. Now, that finance is leaving the banks' saving deposits, the savings accounts. They're leaving the traditional finance accounts. They're leaving the traditional Wall Street accounts, and they're going into cryptocurrency. So that is a concern. So what ends up happening is these big players that lobbied to get these congressmen in office, and they gave them campaign donations, and they go to their dinners, and they have them speak for money to their board meetings or whatever it is, and so anyways, their back pockets are stuffed. They are stuffed to the brims. They got no room back there. They can't even use wallets anymore. They got a little duffel bag sitting under their desk, And you're telling me that you're supposed to say F the banks, and I know I'm gonna do what's right. They're not going to. So that's the narrative I got. So there was just to highlight the importance of this. This is a huge meeting. So this congressional meeting is huge. This is the first step to regulating or having a discussion on regulating the cryptocurrency market. So you have Brian Brooks, which was the Trump's SAR for cryptocurrency. So he knows Congress. He knows how it works. He's been in that position. He was a CEO at Binance.us, not for too long, but right now he's with Bitfury. So he very well spoken in the congressional language. He can basically go back and forth, answer questions in a logical way that these guys are. It's a lot of verbiage that the Congress are sending out, and they're like trying to like set up traps.
Yeah, he was the most refreshing to listen to.
Yeah, they're trying to set up traps, like ask closed-ended questions that appear to only have one answer, to push their narrative. So either way, he was pretty cool. Sam Bankman-Fried, which is the CEO for FTX, with an amazing hairdo. That guy, we put him on a thumbnail, man. Like he looks like the guy from Stranger Things. The short kid, the small kid with the hair and the weird teeth or whatever it is. He looks like a more grown up version of him. So
hair grows like the FTX community.
Yeah, man, that thing is a spider web. You want to talk about a complicated web? That's that dude's hairdo. Now,
I love when one congressman asked him, was like, "You've got the 4 licenses to do what you're doing, and that's great. Are there any licenses that you're unaware of that you haven't acquired yet in which you do what you're doing?" And he's like, no, I got all the licenses I needed to do what I'm doing. It was almost like they tried to catch him in a trap. It was like, what is the question driving here for?
Is you would expect that he would follow that up with, well, you don't have this license. You know what I mean? But it wasn't.
Right.
He didn't even have that.
Yeah, no, he was
like,
trying to catch him in his own lie. He was trying to catch him in his own lie, and that's, I think, is so distasteful about the way they go about this. It isn't trying to have that conversation and drive an organic narrative to understand this space and do what's best for all Americans. They're only doing it for their special interests and to trying to make sure that they're the money providers, the money changers, are happy.
So also, Alyssa Haas was there.
Also fantastic. She was great.
She's actually the number 2 at Coinbase. So Brian Armstrong, being the CEO, one of the congressmen, also went out to call out Brian Armstrong, suggesting that Zuckerberg made it for the congressional hearing. Why isn't he here? And he also referenced Tether not making an appearance as well. Yeah, it's just interesting what they're worried about. Obviously, this woman has the credentials to get in front of Congress and speak, but yet that's not okay for them. Anyways, she's representing the company.
It wasn't getting into.
Why are you making a big deal about it?
Yeah, it wasn't into the nuts and bolts of the conversation. It was like, why isn't your main guy here? This is,
Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous. And then Circle, Jeremy Allaire from Circle was also there. I know they've had a lot of vetting through the government as well, so it was refreshing to hear him speak. Circle also, actually probably the biggest thing I heard from there was from Jeremy Allaire. So he referenced that Circle has put in for or has submitted an application to officially become a charter bank. So basically, Circle is going through the traditional means that banks do to become FDIC correspondent. So basically, that's huge news. So we'll be the first ones to tell you. I'm sure there'll be some articles on it tomorrow. Circle's trying to become a bank. So just think about that. Think about that. Get your direct deposits to Circle, and then use their backed currency. Their pegged dollar currency. Use that, man. Like, I don't know. That's pretty huge, man. That was like a little thing I took away, and I was like, holy crap, that's gigantic. Danielle Dixon, also with Stellar, was there as well, and then Charles from Paxos was the CEO there, was there as well. So really cool to see a lot of the big players there. It was surprising. You got kind of the mix. You got like the younger, Bankman Fried there. He's got that like edgy, young tech guy. But then, outside of him, everyone else seemed like traditional American businessmen or businesswomen,
Right.
So, it kind of, you always get the stigma of cryptocurrency being this little hotshot 20-year-old, but you know what? They are businessmen. There are businesswomen. This is not some niche industry where it's just a bunch of young people like using the internet. Like, no, these are
It's coming.
90% of the people in power here are your traditional finance people that were in Congress, that were part of the presidential cabinet in the last presidential campaign. So, anyways, that's it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys should check it out. I'm sure there'll be. We'll look over the whole video. We'll get some notes for you.
We'll circle back tomorrow. So
yeah.
you can.
So, but that was just kind of my vibe. Was congressmen, just trying to, the whole money laundering thing. It's just like, 99.999% of cryptocurrency transactions, people using it, the technology is all done by people that are trying to use it for what it's made for. And there's 0.0001% of the individuals that are using it for money laundering and illegal activities, but yet they're trying to put all-encompassing regulations down on the entire community for this small little window. And then for what? And then their other narrative was a KYC, for people that are overseas and that are sanctioned and all this crap. And it's just like, you know what? You're going to lose that stranglehold. The U.S. everybody had to tell the U.S. exactly what you're doing, even if you weren't transacting with the U.S. But like, well, you sent somebody, a U.S. company, some money, so we need to know who it was, where it was, whatever it is. Like, and it's just like you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that power. Cryptocurrency is taking it away from you. You're not going to be the big boy on the block where everybody has to tell you everything that you're doing. You're not going to be a money bully anymore. And now there's free market in the financial sector, and it comes in the form of cryptocurrency. And this is America's last grasp to remain in control for what they say goes in the financial space. So
It's clear that we're falling behind, but you as an individual investor do not need to fall behind because crypto is global. So if you want to invest today, you can get the gains from the global market entering in this space and not just the America trying to regulate you out of it. So you as an investor can still be, make some great gains. You can still do very well in this space. So
and stop with the roadblocks, because you're stifling this financial revolution. Money 2.0, financial rails 2.0.
Get on board, guys. Please get on board.
Coming. America's either going to get left behind, or they can lead this new revolution. One or the other. If you keep putting up regulations and you keep stagnating everything, you're going to lose the advantage you have right now, which is the number one country for investment in cryptocurrency. Dollar by dollar comes from the U.S., and we're going to lose it. You're going to lose it.
This is a great segue to our next article. We're going to talk about a country that actually is promoting the innovation in the space, Australia.
Yeah.
Back in September, their Senate committee got together and proposed 9 new regulations for the government to propose, and they're actually going to accept 6 of them. So the majority of these regulations are adopted. They're going to start going into law soon, and it will help to to make sure they have innovation in this space. And it's really exciting to see that Australia is excited about cryptocurrency and they want to be a leader in the space rather than to lead from behind like the United States seems to be presenting themselves.
Yeah, Australia's top 10 and the global market for cryptocurrency. So they're a leader in this space. And if you look at their economy in comparison to the EU, the United States, and other players, they are ahead of us in crypto adoption. So with that said, they're ahead of the game. And their legislation that they passed, these laws are not handcuffing the innovation there. If anything, it's doing the opposite. These laws were put into place for clarity, for to help to bring jobs, to bring that sector of tech into the country. So just goes to show you what you could do right and in building your economy. And it's just like the opposite of America, man. And I fucking love this country, man. I love it here, and that's why I'm so pissed, man. Because finance is probably our strongest suit in this country. Don't you agree? I mean, we're like the financial leaders here. So
yeah, we are a service country. We definitely promote a lot of financial tools and instruments in which we're the world reserve currency. So we have kind of the leader in the space for a long time. And I don't know about you, but I've seen kind of this interest or narrative in the last couple of decades of trying to stifle America and to promote other countries to bring everybody on the same playing field. Get the third world countries out of the third world, make everyone on the same playing field. And this seems to be the next kind of sector that reminds me that the United States is falling behind and allowing the rest of the world to kind of move forward in a space where we're not the leader.
Well, and just
interesting to me. Very interesting.
Once again, man, it's just all it is the policymakers are looking out for the interest of the banking the banking sector here in the U.S. That's right. That's really all it is.
They have a lot to lose, and they don't want to lose it. So
yeah.
All right. Well, moving on, we'll talk about President Biden had his comptroller nominee withdraw from a lot of scrutiny from some of the other sides. This person actually went to school in Moscow on a Lenin scholarship and wrote a thesis about old Karl Marx. So this is a declared socialist and someone who is really worried about the private sector being so innovative that it outpaces the public interest. And so this person is anti-crypto and has received a lot of flack from the other side. Republicans have really been giving a lot of hard time. And so this person said, you know what, this is not going to be the right job for me. I'm going to step aside and allow you to nominate someone else. So interesting to see how Brian Brooks went from the comptroller under the Trump administration, then left after the administration ended, went to work for Binance US for 3 months, and then is now with Bitfury. And that's why he was so well spoken at the hearing today, because he has seen both sides of this argument and has been in the office. And so you can see how the next administration wants to bring in someone that's completely opposite, and it really is not good for innovation. They want to stifle innovation in which to protect the public. But it's not to protect the public. It's protect those special interests that are the status quo.
Oh, my question is Biden doing background checks, or his cabinet do background checks on positions that they're going to fill? And, I mean, I do background checks for any job I go for apply for. I mean,
you'd think.
And I don't want to say that, like, you went to school in Russia, like, that should automatically disqualify you or anything like that.
Right.
However, like, your resume should speak relevance to the industry that you're going into. So what I don't understand is if I have a company that I don't know anything about, let's say I have a portfolio of companies. I have one company I don't know anything about. Let's just say it's it's an electrician. We have an electrical service where we go out and service homes. Like, I'm not going to appoint somebody that is a friend or somebody that has no experience in that field. And in traditional, with traditional government positions, the leader of the agricultural department, for example, the head of that department is usually somebody that has some kind of working ties or experience with that industry. But yet it seems as though, it's okay to put somebody that has zero experience with cryptocurrency as the cryptocurrency czar because what you're well spoken in that. I don't understand why you don't get CEOs or major board members from former cryptocurrency projects, or that maybe have exposure to it, have used it in some form or way. I'd be surprised if she even has a crypto wallet. And so
that was kind of the point I was making yesterday about AOC's comment about how she doesn't think anybody in Congress who's making laws and regulations about this space should hold any cryptocurrency. But I think they should go through the process themselves to feel what it's like, to understand the risk and the advantages of holding and trading cryptocurrency, and seeing what that feels like before you can make any regulations about it. And so maybe they could be allowed to invest in this space, but any profits they make should be redistributed to the constituents in their district. I would be okay with that. But there needs to be some way that there's some familiarity with this space before they can actually make some regulations that make sense. You're not going to have anybody who can.
Don't you agree? You should just put a player from the cryptocurrency space, in that position.
Yeah,
it happens all the time. Like we'll just keep using the agriculture as an example. The CEO of like Tyson or something like that, he will leave his position there and then go to a congressional position.
Yeah, this
feels
feels
very common, but.
This feels like they had a gardener in New York City that put a small garden on the top of their skyscraper, and then therefore wants to tell farmers how they should manage their farms.
Exactly. Let's get some people that know the tech, that know the ins and outs, that understand the technology, that can come up and make suggestions for the administration on how to regulate if that's the desired goal. And, cryptocurrency is going to move forward regardless. That's it.
100%.
America can get on board or not. So
exactly. So move on. We'll talk about central bank digital currencies. Want to work together. Central banks of France and Switzerland getting together, doing a digital euro, and they're going to do a wrapped version of central bank digital currencies. And so this is really exciting. Yeah,
man. That's. So this is the trial phase. So basically, the Swiss franc and the EU are trying to do cross-border payments and using a third party, which they didn't say the blockchain, but basically they use somebody else's blockchain to transact their wrapped CBDC, so the central banked stablecoin.
Maybe we'll speculate tomorrow on which of those.
Hey, you already know. Okay, so
third party.
What's a bank? What's a banking system payment rail that transfers money from one bank to the other and without international, across international lines? We already know who that is. And why would they be hesitant to disclose the name of that? It must be XRP.
Ongoing lawsuits?
Yeah, XRP. It only makes sense. This is the reason XRP was created, was to facilitate cross-border payments, especially through the traditional finance way, but basically wrapping tokens and sending it across the XRP ledger. This is 100% speculation. This is not factual, just an assumption. Now, XRP does have partnerships and has been working with the EU in the past, so it only makes sense. The writing's on the wall. And why else wouldn't you say we did it on the XRP blockchain and you just said a third-party blockchain? So that's my guess. Could be completely wrong in that, but it has all the clues are pointing that direction, my dude. So XRP, we see what you're doing. We see what you're doing. So.
Yeah, it's coming, guys. Get ready. All the cross-chain finance, being able to have these chains talk to each other and be able to trade on-chain. Just get involved, because
outside of the payment rail system, or the transaction system that they use, it's huge. CBDCs are coming. Basically, let's keep the money in the government. It doesn't stop the printing, because the CBDCs are just straight up backed to the national currency. So if you do a dollar backed, if the government, let's say the U.S. government did a CBDC, they could just keep printing it. So. Right. They take all the sweet characteristics of blockchain, and they use that, and then they ignore all the features that keep it secure and safe, and they just poo-poo on that. poo-poo.
Which is why I think that they will be really competing currencies that will keep the other chains honest.
Yeah.
If you have a central bank digital currency that is only benefiting the government and the citizens don't want to benefit the government because it's not actually having good return on their investment, they're going to want to invest elsewhere that benefits the users. And so I think it's a good thing to have competing currencies that have different protocols and different ways that benefit the users so that it keeps these big ones, big government ones,
Well, I
really
would
as honest as they
rather
can be.
I would rather use CBDCs than traditional money. So I think it's obsolete compared to what blockchains are coming out with now. But at least CBDCs, let's just say theoretically, if I use my wallet with a US backed stablecoin like a USDC, for example, or let's just say the government had one, I could just do tap payments with merchants that take it, and then the merchant doesn't have to pay the 2% fee to Visa.
Right.
So it's just that alone is somewhat of an upgrade. I mean, it's easier because it's on my phone and it's connected to my wallet, and there's less hands and fees in it. But still, you're losing the golden rule of cryptocurrencies, which is it's a set amount. It's not tamperable by governments. So.
Speaking of Visa, that's a nice little segue into our next article. Talking about Visa launches crypto consultation service because there was a big uptick in client interest. People wanted to trade their cryptocurrency and be able to purchase things with it. And they said, "Hey, Visa, you got to get on board here." And so that's what they're starting to do. And they've already kind of combined with Coinbase and FTX. Is that it? To try to be able to provide provide services. They own an NFT. So Visa's there's going to be a mover in the space. They realize that they need to get ahead of the other payment solutions and be a part of it.
Yeah, be a part of it or get left behind.
Yep.
Simple as that. And so the smartest CEOs and board members, and they're gonna identify it and they're gonna make moves. People that are stagnant in their ways and just brush off cryptocurrency as a novelty, they're going to be the ones left behind. They're going to be the blockbusters. They're going to be what's some other company? The Kmart. That one closed down too. So either way,
you got to change and keep up with innovation, or else you're going to go bankrupt.
So with market adoption, you have the technology on one side, you have the user on another side. So there's a big piece of this market adoption that is missing that you don't really think about. So it's the middleman, it's the utilization, it's the infrastructure. So blockchain, you think, it has the infrastructure, it's all ready to go, but it's not. It's not integrated into the software of your merchant machine. It's not integrated into your website. It's not integrated into your payment system. So for market adoption, when everybody says like, "Well, I can't go to the grocery store and use it," you know who will change that? Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Those will change the payment rails. So they're going to be the bridge. They're the part of the piece of the puzzle that connects everything together. You want market adoption? It's these players right here. These are the ones that are going to step up. And if they don't, somebody else is going to do it. It's going to be Square or somebody else. So they're getting ahead of the game.
Block.
And man, yeah. Oh, yeah, they changed their name to Block. That's right. Now, this also goes for other parts of technology that aren't 100% reliant on finance. So there's a lot of advantages with blockchain technology, whether it is for data management or for supply chain issues, as far as tracking data, original source, authenticating things. So anyways, like IBM is a big leader in this space as well. They are connecting a lot of their corporate entities and some of their partners, some of their companies. They're laying out the groundwork on how to implement and apply blockchain into somebody else's infrastructure. So if I use IBM, if I'm one of their clients and I say, "Hey, I'm interested in blockchain," literally you can just go to ibm.com/blockchain. And there's a list of services there. So, these companies might not be the sexiest, like, hey, Visa's doing this, but, or IBM's doing this, but they're the ones that connect it all. They're the master puppets. They're the ones that got the strings. So, super bullish, my dude. Super bullish. And Visa's cool, man. They got a CryptoPunk. They got one.
They do.
They also got a lot of money sitting around. They can just throw it's like $50 million or something stupid like that to a CryptoPunk. So, but anyways, it's good. The writing's on the wall, my friends. That's it.
Yeah, still very much the same kind of thing for them, where they receive a percentage of every transaction fee. They can still set up that same kind of transaction fee for this setup system. So it speaks to them that they don't really lose any market share. And if they can be the first mover in the space, they may gain market share. That's definitely their goal. So I'm excited for Visa.
There it is.
Let's move into the next segment. We're going to call the market analysis. How we looking on the markets today, my friend?
So we're kind of sideways. Nothing jumping off the screen here. So Bitcoin
still accumulating and consolidating since the little pullback.
Big layer support, 50,000. So we crossed it and we haven't dipped back under.
That's huge.
So next up, 53,000, 55,000, 57,000, and then the 60,000. So. But basically 55,000, 60,000 are the big numbers here, but we're holding support. We haven't been dipping under 50,000. So, that's good. The markets are looking good. Now just keep in mind when Bitcoin trades sideways, what happens to the alts?
When Bitcoin sideways, the alts go moon.
Dead right. So, anyways, just keep in mind, if you notice, Bitcoin just kind of hovering around the 50 to 52,000 range for the next couple of days. Be a great time to get in to put some new positions in on some altcoins. So Ethereum sitting at 44,000, kind of in the same range. Same with Binance. Nothing too much has changed. Cardano is sitting at his new little fun spot between $1.30 and $1.50. So we're just going to need to see more market adoption on that one. And then Terra Luna has been pumping still, man. With the Terra Luna, we're just going to harp on it one more time. They do stable coins as far as the transactions with those. So as the market goes stagnant or dips, Luna generally goes up. So I would imagine they're going to lose their top 10 spot here in the next few weeks. So I think the pumps are kind of out of it. I feel like we're going back in the uptrend. If you've been watching the channel with any kind of frequency, every time we bring up this screen, every time we bring it up, here's the thing. This is what we say. Polygon, my dude. We've been talking about it. We were talking about it when it was $1.80. We're talking about it when it was $1.90. Talked about it yesterday when it was $1 or $2.20. So anyways, Ethereum, the leading blockchain, Vitalik has said earlier this week, use layer 2s. Number one layer 2, Polygon, number one market as far as transactions, Ethereum. So Ethereum layer 2 is going to come out. It's only going to get even sweeter. It's going to be even better. So Polygon, my dude, Matic, that's where it's at. It's not too late. The boat is not sailed. It's sitting at number 14 on the market cap list. So lots of room to grow, safe investment, lots of returns. And then what else? Oh, Near Protocol up 23%. So, I don't have too much to say about Near.
Near.
You're very observant.
Sorry, just doing things a little differently here at Sin City Crypto.
There you go. You got wheels on the chair.
I'm wound up Wednesday. I got to have a little fun here after the show.
Now, with Near, they are basically a blockchain that runs smart contracts. That their kind of shtick is that they do interoperability from one chain to the other. Ethereum, Binance, all of these, a whole host of issues. So what I think about when it comes to Near Protocol is that they're kind of like Cosmos, and you see Cosmos here. Cosmos is typically thought of as the leader in the bridging of chains space, but I don't think there's really been a winner in this sector. I don't think there's a front runner. There's no like Chainlink. Chainlink's like the leading oracle, the go-to for all the big projects. I don't think there's really a go-to for interoperability between one chain and the other. So if you were to diversify your investments, if that's an area of blockchain that you're interested in as far as interoperability, I think we can all agree that for our ecosystem, these protocols are necessary. Don't you agree, Carl?
Yeah, there's lots of room to explore and to check out different ways of doing things and to just see what kind of jives with your personal goals and your investment portfolio strategy. There's lots of great options here. It's not something to be maybe discouraged because there's so many and you don't know where to start. There's so many great ones out there, and there's a great place to start is anywhere, and then just keep learning, keep growing, and keep being curious. Keep exploring the space. But there is no leader.
We just gotta find it. We gotta find the leader. And who's gonna be the front runner? I don't know yet. I would probably just keep an eye on big partnerships and big news stories. Whoever leads that side, I guess, would probably be the front runner.
Yeah, I think all of these ships will rise with the rising tides. The question is always which boat will be the highest, and we certainly cannot be. May have to get the wizard back in here to see if we can't figure that out. Yeah,
we'll have to get the wizard back in here now. If you believe in like layer ones and that whole protocol, if you're a big believer in Ethereum and Binance and Cardano and Algorand and Avalanche, if you're behind those projects, they're not going to work without an intermediary that connects everything together, because it doesn't do anything but help the community when one big chain can talk to the other, and dApp developers can program on both, more easily and transact their tokens from one side to the other, or settle contracts from one project to the other. So basically, it's a very, very important space. Something you definitely look into. I did mention Chainlink here. They're at 10% for the day. Chainlink, huge. You know what? So like I was saying, there isn't any like big front runner for the the Cosmos style chain where you're bridging one to the other. There is a front runner for oracles, and it's Chainlink. All the big players are using Chainlink. There, it is the go-to information. If you run smart contracts, the information that is the smart contract is all fed into by oracles, and Chainlink is the leader. So huge project, undervalued, holds through bear markets. It's gonna be a top 5 project when everything settles, because you're gonna have Bitcoin, you're gonna have whatever super overused layer 1, and then you're gonna have the oracle that feeds that information, and that's gonna be it, man. That's it. And then you're gonna have XRP or something. You're gonna have whatever blockchain is feeding the old financial system into the new one, whichever platform that is. Those are your top 5 right there. And then throw a stable coin in there. That's gonna be your top 5. It's gonna be Bitcoin, probably Ethereum or another layer 1, Chainlink, a stable coin, and then what was the other one I said? Yeah, anyways, it don't matter. So now that's all I got, man. And we'll try not to harp too much on Congress. We don't want to be a political show here. Just for today's narrative, it was a very pivotal moment in our space with our government, with regulation. So obviously it was the focal point of what we're talking about. But we're not trying to put up.
Each side of the aisle was definitely not presented well. They definitely they showed their ignorance in this space. But it didn't matter which side talked. So cool. They've got a lot of growth, a lot of room.
Just a reminder, if you have been watching and you're not subscribed, help us out. We're trying to grow with us. Also, we do have our official launch on December 20th.
On the 20th, that's right.
We do got some guests lined up.
Exciting things coming.
We got a guest this Monday coming up as well. So
that's right. You get an important person in the health industry.
Wait, just you could be an early adopter here. You're like, hey man, I was watching Sin City Crypto when they were less than 1,000 followers.
That's right.
That's
right.
And then we'll for our 1,000 followers, before we get there, we're gonna invite all of y'all to the studio. You come hang out, sit on the red couch, watch the show, and that's all I got. You got anything else over there, Carl?
No, that's all. If anybody just want to say thanks for watching, if you want to comment down below, anything you'd like us to talk about in the future, we'll certainly put that on the bucket list and be able to show we meet your demands. So thanks for spending some time with us, and we appreciate you so much.
Hey, what do you
Thank
think
you.
David's doing right now? What do you think he's doing for his birthday?
Well, I know he's probably shirtless.
Yeah, you think he shaved today for his birthday?
No.
Definitely not.
No. He's probably shirtless.
Definitely
He's
got
either
no
at the
shirt on.
pool, maybe he's in his bubble bath, maybe he had room service, maybe he's at one of the fantastic restaurants there.
I hope he comes in tomorrow looking hungover.
You think he's passing out business cards and flyers about Sin City Crypto there at the Venetian, or you think he's just
He might be.
solo?
Well,
If anybody's at the Venetian today and you happen to be watching, go and find our co-host David, and maybe
Yeah.
he'll give you a special reward. At
He's
least
a-
wish him a happy birthday.
unshaven,
Yeah,
dirty
unshaven
looking,
and shirtless.
shirtless. That's
Hey,
it.
have a great day, guys. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Cheers.